Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year, since this is the first video in 2020. So as you can see, I am joined again by Mirela. Hi Mirela, welcome back to the channel.
Hi Carmina, so nice seeing you. Happy New Year, everyone.
So Mirela and I decided to take a look at the full moon. That's also going to be a lunar eclipse on the 10th. That's going to be analyzed by us mainly through the perspective of the cards of truth. So it's mostly a cards of truth videos, but of course, cards of truth always intertwines astrology as well. So if you're cards curious, you can check out this video to expand on your knowledge. And before we get to it, I also wanted to announce that this weekend, we're going to continue our Cards of Truth integration practice. So for the people who already studied the Cards of Truth, this is a group where we look at questions, how we can interpret things in reading. So it's very practical. We have 5 classes left, 1 Saturday and 5 Sundays beginning this weekend. And also from Mirela, she has a free Cards of Truth calendar. What is that, Mirela? Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, it's just a 12-page calendar for 2020. I've made one in 2019. I updated a little bit to look a little cleaner for 2020. So basically, we already, and I think I have yours, which is awesome because you can see all 365 days in one. But honestly, it's a little small. So sometimes I'm like, I wanted to see the actual day. So it's a free download for those that are interested. It's 12 pages and just a little something that I got inspired to do. So thanks for bringing that up.
Sure, I'm gonna put the link in the description box if you want to download Mirela's free calendar. So now, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm gonna share my screen.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so it's gonna be what is it gonna be? A 4 of Spades day, right?
Yes.
Just 1 second. So before I share my screen, like, what do you want to say about this 4 of Spades? Is an eclipse day?
Well, it's a 4 of Spade. That's the preceptor card. It's a symbol. Spade is related to fire. It's a stable number 4, belonging to Mercury. So it shows some sort of potential for balance, balancing the things that are really important to us, the things that, fairness. That's something that comes to mind when I hear about a 4 of Spades. It's not an easy card because spades are not normally easy, but like a 4 of Spades, a 6 of Spades, those are coming a little closer to, oh my God, maybe I get the potential to. So just at first glance, it's not a bad card. The card of the day for the eclipse. What are your thoughts? I was thinking about that ecliptic and some of the afflictions that go by that will kind of separate this day from another 4 of Spade day, of course.
Yeah, well, because you mentioned that the spades are a fire suit, I mean, they're connected also to the fire element. I can't help thinking about the fires in Australia that are very impactful and will impact us for the next 100 years. They're like, so I'm just hoping that on that 4 of Spades day, they will settle down, perhaps, hopefully become more contained and not be so, raging on as they were.
That would be good. That would
Yeah.
be so good. I mean, there's so much death and devastation there. So
Yes, and the smoke will, will be deposited on top of icebergs and glaciers, which will blacken them, so that will cause them to melt faster. And it's not an easy time for the world in general, which shows that also nothing that happens, like, we are not really isolated from nature. Like, we forget all the time. We think that we are individual, we're more evolved, we're separate, but we're not. We're really part of it, and whatever happens in it, like natural disasters and phenomenon, well, it takes a natural disaster to remind us that we are part of nature, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is also like a little wake-up call, I would say. So although it's a 4 of spades, you can see that the 4 of spades, I'm just going to close these to not distract us.
Yes.
So the 4 of spades birth card has a lot of hearts in it, also has the 9 of hearts ecliptic. It has the 8 of spades as the Mars card, which is not really it's not the most, I don't know, fun Mars card to have, because the 8 can be tricky, right? Because have we surpassed already the 7, the victimization, or not? Because if we haven't, it will have the effect of the 7. And then we also have some diamonds here. So what do you think about this configuration with the hearts, the diamonds?
I think this chart, if we look at it, this spread, basically, if we don't really look at what the planets are doing and where they are, like the actual cards themselves, the base, the foundation, it's pretty nice. I mean, we have tens, we have aces, we have queens, fives, we don't have kings, we do have a 7 and a 9, but I do like it. And I like what you said about that Mars. It's almost the struggles, because it's almost like you're feeling somehow stuck. And I think that's not an easy card, because Mars is all about fire, wanting to be action oriented, and it supports this card that's more of, you have so many thoughts, so many things to figure out, but you can't really put them in motion. So I think that's going to be impacting the energy of the day. But the rest of the cards, I mean, we have more red cards than black cards. So I think, to me, that means we have the potential to receive a lot if we open ourselves to it. But that a lot doesn't necessarily imply it's all good. It just means we receive it. Good, bad, where, especially with a full moon, we're totally open to it. And if we look at what the moon is doing, it's in its own house in this beautiful 10 of diamonds, but it's afflicted by a Rahu. So the surprise card is there, the unexpected card is there, and it's a clubs going in a diamond. We have the number 3 that I think it's gonna bring some sort of change. So I don't know. I don't know what to make out of it. I thought about it. There's just a little bit of too much affliction for my taste to be able to predict all these beautiful moon things that could happen on a full moon. They're going to be there, but I think they're going to potentially be overshadowed by some stuff that's unresolved.
Yeah, and also I think it's good what you said about that Mars card. You kept emphasizing it, and also this 3. So we can notice that both nodes are 3. So we're going from personal, individual expansion, which is the 3 of spades. The 3 of spades is also the element of fire, so maybe a fiery expansion, towards more like an expansion of ideas, of projects, like an intellectual expansion. So, but they're both like very action oriented, very, it's not here to make friends energy, right? The 3. So it's more like I'm going my way. And what else can we say? Yeah, I was thinking in my head, like with the human design, but maybe I'll make another video with that, because there's too much to say. But the energy there also implies, it's like you can be stuck with something, but it's good in a way to be stuck with it, because you have to be able to analyze whether it's worth beginning something. That 8 of spades is a very contemplative card. It's like, I'm just figuring things out. Is it worth doing this? Is it really me? Or should I just wait for the right timing, or for the right true idea for myself? I think that's, and like the receiving energy that you talked about, that's very well highlighted by all the red cards, and especially that Nine of Hearts ecliptic, which is like the bhakti, kind of like the surrender
Yes.
energy, like the infinite divine love, that you kind of don't judge things as being positive or negative, but just accept that it just is part of reality, and you just see the divinity also in the difficult and negative things. That's maybe one of the keys to cope with the things that are going on in this period. What do you
Yeah.
think about that busy Five of Hearts there?
Oh my goodness, I'm going to talk about that in a second, but I was thinking, but just when you mentioned the Rahu is like such an explosive energy, having that three inner clubs, which is the third suit. So I do think it's an explosion of energy that we're not really quite prepared for. And then imagine that you have, you know, that going in a moon card. So emotionally and what we're comfortable with, we're going to have to learn how to work with this. But this, the Five of Hearts, the five on a Saturn is not bad. The fact that we have a Saturn supporting that card, you know, it's bringing its strength. It will make this card secure. So the Five of Hearts can show a lot in regards to the change of hearts that we have. So we're not going to be very, we're not going to be very wishy-washy about this. We're changing our mind about something that's important, and because it's on Saturn, it's something that's really been weighing us down. So I think overall we're going to globally feel that this Five of Hearts that was suppressed for a long time, I think with this moon right opposite, you know, in the sky from the sun and Rahu there, it will pull it just right out. What do you think?
I think, well, there are, that's a mixed bag there in the Five of Hearts. We have Saturn, South Node, Pluto, the Sun. Like these planets are like kind of, I don't want to say malefic, but difficult, challenging influences, right? But probably that's what we're supposed to be experiencing, because otherwise we can't change and we can't improve, because the five is the number of crises, but it's also improvement. So I guess we need maybe this kick in the butt, so to speak, so that we can change something for the better. What I like about that card is, like you said, it's a five on the Saturn, so that's a compatible energy. Saturn is also there, the lord of the card. Jupiter is also there manifesting the card. Venus is like also maybe a nicer influence, and Mercury is also manifesting the card. So I do really think like one of the pivots of this chart, because of its great weight, it's the Five of Hearts. So we are just trying to figure out how we are making, you know, how are we going to let go of the Five of Hearts that's weighing down on us? So the emotional crisis, like, can we learn something from our emotional crisis? Can we can we try to make a step forward, a leap of faith, because it's the heart suit, so it has to do also with faith. So can we make a leap of faith towards the six in the future? Maybe not right now, maybe we have to still wait for the right timing, but I think there's also a lot of hope in that card, because when I see a Five of Hearts, I see the number five, which is Jupiter, right? So Jupiter in a five, it will also help the card. And you know, the Five of Hearts, I see, you know, like a Jupiter in Cancer type of thing. So although it's like a difficult lesson, it can also bring a lot of abundance of understanding, an abundance of tolerance, abundance of changing the relationships you have with your loved ones, perhaps. That's what I would also say about that card. So what do you think about, let's see, that Ace of Diamonds with the Mars in it? And
Where
Neptune.
is it at? Oh yeah, and the Five of Hearts, isn't it the fruit that it's already a nice fruit? It's not a fruitless action, but some of the fruit is getting bad, so you have to get rid of that to allow the other ones to grow as
Exactly.
bright as
Like
possible. So that
selecting,
makes sense
like
with
pruning
everything you
the
said.
fruit.
Yeah.
Pruning is
Which card are we talking about? The Ace of Diamond?
okay, so we were talking about the Five of Hearts, and now I'm thinking about the Ace of Diamonds because it has Neptune and Mars in it.
And Mars in it. Well, an ace is good on every card. And the Jupiter card, even though it's actually showing something that could get averted, with an ace is like how much, like some opportunities could be missed, but the real ones I think are going to still be able to manifest practically, because Jupiter is a manifester and it's holding this card. Ace of Diamond, it's the beginning of something new that is really like has to do with value. So you can really put your hands on it and you like start growing it, start seeing it. So and with that Ace of Hearts on Mercury too, two different aces in red, we have to be open to that change. But again, it feels like Mars is delighted to be there, but we have to kind of don't get stuck in our head too much in order to be able to see that, because I feel like with the energies that we have there, unless we know how to manipulate in a way the Five of Hearts, we have to allow ourselves to become flexible and adaptable and bring about that change. And we can't force, if we feel stuck in a situation, we can't necessarily force things outwardly yet, but the same thing can bring us new opportunities that we could otherwise miss because it's on Jupiter, if we don't pay attention. That's kind of how I see it. I just feel like there is a lot coming our way, positive and negative, and we just have to just let go of some things that we were thinking about. With this Five of Hearts, it's a card of justice, right? So it's like we have to let go of something in order to allow something new, and we have plenty of newness coming in from both Mercury and Jupiter, which both are in that card manifesting it really well. It's quite fascinating, actually. And this Uranus, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Uranus, whatever the pronunciations.
I'm sure I'm not the
So
only
this is
one.
Neptune here in the Ace of Diamonds, and Uranus is in the Queen of Diamonds.
Yeah, so you have that Seven of Clubs, which brings about, so some things that kind of move fast, some things that don't work out, will bring that potential for us to be kind of satisfied with what's about to become. Because it's a Queen of Diamond on Venus, that's a powerful card, but it's almost like everything is coming down in this Saturn card. So I guess I'm a little conflicted in myself, because this Five of Hearts energy is like, okay, I'm embracing it. We're all going to have to be open-minded, right? But I think it's all standing in there, because if we resolve our Saturn card for the full moon, then we can move into this expanding energy of the Three of Clubs, right?
Yeah, and I also think that, so in order for us to expand ourselves and our ideas, like the Three of Clubs, we also have to allow ourselves kind of to transmute, to change, like that Five of Hearts, to go through that crisis, right? Because the Neptune card is also a five, it's a Five of Diamonds. So there is a lot of change happening in the backdrop. And we also have the Queen. The Queen also has the energy of five, the Queen of Diamonds here and the Queen of Spades on the Pluto card, which is very tied into this Five of Hearts. So it's this changing energy, but like you said, the red fives are the divine justice. But then the Black Queen, the Queen of Spades, is more like, I'm just focused on my path, and like nothing really can distract me. So it's like a juggling between these two, like you're in the turmoil of an emotional change, but you still have to be yourself and be true to yourself and be true to your own change and expansion. So you have to kind of juggle these. That's why it's a little tricky, like juggling the what you receive from the external world and what you become internally, how you keep real. Because like you said, okay, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, not all of them will be the right ones. You have to be true to yourself and see am I beginning something? Am I doing something just for the sake of beginning, or because it's really something that it's worthwhile beginning? So that's the tricky thing. Like we can't provide like a super positive outlook for everyone and like solve all, because this how this eclipse is will also depend on how everyone's natal chart is and what points are being triggered, like where is your Capricorn in your natal chart, where is Cancer. So you have to also pay attention to that. But on the global scale, it will be a lot of, you know, a stillness, but also in that stillness reassessing decision making. Like that crisis will bring about some important decisions which will affect, you know, the expansion of the collective, I would say.
Yeah. And the ecliptic, I think that's pretty much the card that we would have to embrace, right? It's like the Nine of Hearts. It's a semi-fixed card containing a Seven of Diamond. So to me, that means just move over, pass over any kind of egocentricity you have. And then if you lose into one thing, just act like a fool, because it's going to all work out. So it's not an energy, but it's such a beautiful energy. It's one of the most beautiful cards to have on an ecliptic. Yes, there are a lot of problems in this spread for the day, but at the end of the day, the lesson is to kind of love everybody, and that goes for everything, you know, the war talk, everything that's happening in the world right now. We just have to let go of the fact that we have to be right. Like, you know, it's a Queen of Spade. Like, I know because I have one on my son, so it's just like it's a control freak. So
I
with
have one on
this
my
tomorrow,
Rahu.
you have it on your Rahu. You have to be learning how to be a control freak.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the negative. The Queen of Spades are great, but um you know, the negative part is not so good.
And the
But we
shadow,
have
I
to let
wouldn't say
go
it's
of that.
negative, it's shadow. It's like it's a, you know, a phase maybe of the Queen of Spades.
Yeah, so I think that's one card we have to let go of. Try to solve it all on our own without support. Try to be right. Try to be focused. Try to be hardworking, to control the situation. Basically, that's just not gonna cut it for this eclipse. So we have to just kind of embrace that path that the ecliptic wants to take us on. But it's kind of hard because the Four of Spade birth card is making us want to be very anchored. And you know what I was going to ask you, I don't know if you've had the chance to look at this with the astrology. That moon is very unanchored. It has no planets before or after or in the 10th or 4th. So I feel like a lot of the people are not going to be prepared with that moon and Rahu, the classical, you know, not knowing how to embrace the emotions.
Yes, that's one point of view. Yes, when you know, there is no planet in the sign before it, and after it we say that it's not anchored. But at the same time, you know, the other perspective on eclipses that I saw our teacher Wilhelm mention on the forum once, because he has a telescope and he was watching the lunar eclipse last time, and he said, you know, finally the moon had some peace, because usually the moon is beaten up by the sun. Like it's always like by opposition, by conjunction. The moon is very, you know, worked up by the sun during these full moon, new moon phases. And when an eclipse happens, especially like Rahu is covering it, the moon gets some silence, so it can breathe a little. It's like, okay, so our mind, maybe it's not anchored, but at least it has some, you know, it has some peace. It's not so energized by the sun. It is just, okay, just let me breathe for a
I
second.
like that.
Yeah, so we can also think about that.
Just
And also this moon Rahu, you know, that moon, people that are born with moon Rahu, they are closer, I mean, it's easier for them to go on the Rahu path, although it seems chaotic for everyone else. So this energy of the eclipse, although it seems chaotic, it's still kind of, okay, it's the right thing to go and the right thing to do at the same time. So I would also, because I don't like this like dualistic perspective, okay, it's good, it's bad, everything is good and bad at the same time, and it's how it's supposed to be in the fabric of things that are going on. Like, we can't really control it, we're just experiencing it.
I know.
So it's
How
just,
do
yeah,
you
we are
think?
part of this world, of this nature, and we are experiencing, you know, what the rest of the world is experiencing. It, we're not really that separated and that individual.
Do you have any piece of advice for relationships for men and women? Because Sun is in the natural 10th house with Ketu, which is kind of not the ideal position. Moon is in the natural 4th house with um with Rahu. How do
I
people
guess
in
that will depend
relationships
on the
live?
place of the world where you're in when the eclipse happens. And also, do you take the time when the eclipse begins, or do you take the time when the eclipse is at its fullest? So I wouldn't really look so much at the cusps of the houses. But I would say, you know, due to this emphasis in a Saturn sign, because it's, what can you do? Be Saturnian, like, just wait for, again, the right timing, you know, to act, because Saturn, like a good Saturn, doesn't waste its energy doing things that it shouldn't. It just acts when it has to act, and it just, you know, detoxifies us, it eliminates the waste. So that's kind of the energy. It's like, okay, letting go, a lot of letting go with this Saturn South Node and Pluto conjunction, and especially now that all these planets have joined in a Saturn ruled sign. I know Mercury is in Aquarius, but still, it's still Saturn ruled. Like, it's a very Saturnian time that we are living right now. And what is Saturn? It's nature, you know.
Oh,
So
you mean Venus? Venus? I think Venus is in Aquarius, maybe.
no,
Mercury, I think
Saturn is in Capricorn, right?
Saturn is in Capricorn. I think Mercury is still in Capricorn. I think Venus
Oh,
moved into
Venus crossed
Aquarius.
over. You're right. Yeah. So Mercury is in Capricorn and Venus crossed over to Aquarius, but
I was
that's still
trying to figure out in my head.
no, no.
Do
It's
you?
true. It's Aquarius, but it's still Saturn ruled, right?
Yeah, so
So,
no drama much in relationships as a general rule. We would have to know more about everybody's chart.
well, yes, but you know, Venus is there. So what can you do? Like a Saturnian sign, like more restraint, more practicality. Just be practical, right? Like Venus likes the Saturn signs because
They're friends.
exactly. So it's just being more practical, I
That
would
makes
say.
sense. I mean, look at this Queen of Diamond Venus. I think it's going to be, it's basically the most powerful card, I think, in this chart, even though it's not manifested quite as well. But the backdrop is there for Venus. It's a royal
Mm-hmm.
card, and other than the Pluto one, it's the most powerful and practical, I think.
Yeah, in that Nine of Hearts, it's kind of the unconditional love, which you would be an exalted Venus. Like, so it does have this connotation, like this Venusian, like acceptance and tolerance, like the, you know, Five of Hearts, Nine of Hearts, a lot of watery energy there.
So we need that. We do need some stability, some love in the world, more love.
Yes, more love and more acceptance for, you know, acceptance for ourselves and for the world in general. Less, you know, there's not too much clubs except the North Node, Uranus, you know, so stop overthinking maybe so much.
Yes, yes. I think this is a good lesson, and it won't be a day, without challenges. But as long as we kind of stay true to the energy, that's all we can do.
Yes. So anything else about this eclipse that you want to add?
I think we kind of covered it. I would love to hear about your human design, but I don't know if you have time, if you have a
I
few
think
minutes to
I'm going to
tell
make
us a
a
little bit.
separate video. I think I'm going to make
Oh,
a
you will
separate
make us.
video
Okay,
with
I'm
that.
looking forward to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining. I really loved hearing your thoughts on
Thank you
this
so
eclipse.
much for having me.
And check out Mirela's channel, Chart Rectification. Check out her website. She also, you know, offers readings and all that good stuff. So I'll see you again
Oh,
soon.
you're very sweet. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome, and enjoy the eclipse.
I know, right? Thank you.
Bye.